Hello Year 7 and welcome back. We are now in week 4 and this is lesson 3. So you will already have looked at discord in childhood this week and this is our next poem. So the first thing we'd like you to do is have a go at this starter. Is there a song that reminds you of a particular time in your life? So you hear it and you're immediately transported back to that time. It might be a holiday you've been on, it might be a party you were at, a school event, anything that immediately brings you back. Why do you think this might be? The poem we're looking at today is Piano by D.H. Lawrence, and it is a poem all about the memories of the past and the poet's childhood. In this poem, Lawrence presents a chain of reactions that are inspired by the fact that he's listened to music one evening as an adult. What I'd like you to do then is you will see that there are 3 links on this slide. Listen to each of those pieces of music and for each one decide what feeling does the music create. If you were to write a scene that was accompanied by this music, what would be happening? So what picture is it creating in your mind? What are you imagining is happening while you're listening to this music? And then finally, if this were a memory, would the music trigger a positive or a negative reaction, and why do you think this is? You don't need to listen to the entire piece of music. They're 5-6 minutes long. Okay, just a snippet will do. But what do these pieces of music make you think of? Alright, so we are now at our poem for today, Piano. What's going to happen is I'm going to read it through for you once so you can hear it read aloud, and then what I'd like you to do is have a go at those 3 questions on the right. So read the poem through another couple of times. Write down what your initial reaction is. Underline and look up any words you don't recognise. There is some tricky vocabulary in this poem today, so you might want to have a dictionary or a dictionary website up ready. And then a short explanation, just a sentence or 2, explaining what you think is happening in this poem. Piano. Softly in the dusk, a woman is singing to me, taking me back down the vista of the years till I see a child sitting under the piano in the boom of the tingling strings and pressing the small poised feet of a mother who smiles as she sings. In spite of myself, the insidious mastery of song betrays me back till the heart of me weeps to belong to the old Sunday evenings at home with winter outside and hymns in the cosy parlour, the tinkling piano our guide. So now it is in vain for the singer to burst into clamour with the great black piano appassionato. The glamour of childish days is upon me. My manhood is cast down in the flood of remembrance. I weep like a child for the past. This poem is full of sensory language, okay? It's all about music and the way that music can impact your memory. So it is set one quiet evening and a woman is playing and singing the piano. The song she's playing instantly reminds the poet or our speaker of their childhood. It takes them back to being that child, and he imagines himself sitting under a piano while his mother is smiling and singing and playing the piano. So what I'd like you to have a go at is I'd like you to see if you can find 3 examples of sensory language from this poem, okay? And once you've done that, have a go at the challenge if you can. Why do you think Lawrence chooses to use sensory language in this poem? And then what is the effect of this on the reader? Now remember, when we ask about the effect on the reader, what we're asking really is what does it make us think or feel or question or imagine? Okay, so how is it impacting us as a reader? Okay, so I know this looks like an awful lot, but what we're going to do is I'd like you to think back to your work as a poetry detective. Now, lots of you did really, really well with this, okay? And so all you're doing is using exactly those skills in a different poem. So you are going to be looking for clues in the poem Piano to try and work out a little bit more about what Lawrence is telling us, okay? I have done the first one for you, okay, so I've picked out boom of the tingling strings, okay, as my phrase. I've highlighted it and I've told you that technique is onomatopoeia, so it sounds like what it's describing, boom and tingle, all right. Once we've got the highlighted technique. We've told us what it is. The final column is where you have the opportunity to say what you've worked out about it. This is where you're finding out what the clue means. And I have said the use of onomatopoeia conveys the sound of the piano. It is loud, we've got boom, to show the impact the noise has had on him as speaker. Tingling also has quite positive connotations. Think about that sound. It sounds light and airy, doesn't it? And these positive connotations show that his relationship with his mother is good. So I've done that first one for you. What I'd like you to do is choose at least one technique from each stanza to try and investigate and explain for yourself. All right, so I've picked out at least two, and there's plenty more in there, but just go for the two at the moment. And you need to use all of those detective skills that we practiced the other day to work out what is going on. So you might want to talk about the sibilance in smiles as she sings. You might want to talk about the fact the metaphor in stanza 2 of the tinkling piano as our guide. All right, and see what it is you can work out. This is difficult. Okay, this is challenging. So don't worry if you find this difficult. Make sure if you've got any questions, you email me and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And give it your best shot. Okay, just pick one, give it your best shot. We've now reached the end, so we're at our 3, 2, 1 challenge. So what I'd like you to find today is 3 poetry techniques and their definitions. You've looked at lots of them over the last few weeks, so you should have a good bank of knowledge now based on all of the work that you've done. I'd like you to give me 2 poem titles that were written by D.H. Lawrence and what each poem is about. So you've looked at 2 this week. What are they about? And then 1 sentence explaining which poem you prefer and why. Okay, so this final slide is challenge tasks. So if you have got plenty of time left in your hour and you would like to have a go at these challenge tasks, then that is brilliant. These tasks are based around the tone of the poem. Now, tone is quite a difficult thing to talk about, which is why these are in the challenge section. So think back to the task you did earlier with the music. You were talking about the tone of the music and what it makes you think of. This is much the same as what you will be doing with the poem. So how would you describe the tone of this poem? What keywords suggest this? So what are the keywords that stand out to you? Do you think this poem has the same tone all the way throughout, or does it change at some point? If you think it changes, can you identify where that is? All right. And then what does that suggest perhaps about the poet's relationship with his mother? Okay, is it the same now as an adult as it was when he was a child? Is it different? How? Okay, so what do you think about that? And then finally, if you had to choose a piece of music or a song that would accompany this poem, that would get that memory flowing in the poet's mind, what piece of music or song do you think would work and why? Okay, like I said, you do not have to do these challenge tasks if you have finished your hour's work of English. If you want to have a go at them, brilliant, okay, but we are only asking you to do 1 hour's worth of work. So work hard for your hour. Any questions, please get in touch, and I will see you soon.